Hi, this is Elinor, Priestess of Inner Truth. Let me just turn the Q&A bit on. Awesome. So, I missed you last week. Sorry about that. I had technical difficulties. But I'm here now. Today, Sunday, the 21st of September. This weekend's the autumn equinox weekend. And today I'm going to focus on the theme of overwhelm, because that's something that I've been feeling a lot lately, and I get from reading people's social media updates and comments. I think it's something that a lot of people are feeling a little bit of now. So that's the theme for today. I'm just going to wait a little bit and see if people who said they were going to be here are going to come in. I'm just going to pop a little comment on the event page to remind people. I'm just saying live now, sharing that. There we go. So, okay. So yes, I'm feeling rather overwhelmed at the moment, and I hope you're not, but if you are, then hopefully you can get what you need from today. Something I'm also, I don't have a poem for you this week, but something I'm also introducing this week is a kind of a prayer circle element, which is basically, as part of the meditation, I've got a list of names of people who, in various forums I'm on and through private correspondence, have asked to have positive energy sent to them for a good outcome for them, for the challenges they're facing in their life at the moment. So I'm going to include that as part of our meditation time together. So, overwhelm is something that I definitely start to feel at this time of year. For me, that's specifically because of the shortening days. So what happens for me is, over the summer I have a lot more energy and a lot more positivity, and just it feels like there's lots of me to go around. So over the summer, even though I'm aware of this pattern, I still tend to take things on and then take more things on and then take more things on top of that. So that when it comes to the autumn and the days get shorter and my energy and my positivity start to settle to a lower level, I start to feel the effect of having taken on too much. And I start to feel overwhelmed with the responsibilities that I've taken on. Now, your situation may be different from that. It may not be seasonal. It may just be the messages and the beliefs that you were brought up with about that you should be the one to step in and say yes to taking on responsibilities. Especially this is the case for women. But I know there are quite a few men who also, if one can say, suffer from the overwhelm challenge. And the thing that happens when we start to feel overwhelmed is that it adds stress to our situation. We don't feel, we don't believe that we have the capacity to do everything that it feels like we have to do. Whatever the reality is, the feeling of overwhelm arises when we don't have confidence in our capacity to meet the challenges that are in front of us. And depending on our personal situation, our health, our experiences in life, The feeling of overwhelm can arise when it looks obvious from the outside that we've taken on too much, or there's too much that's been put on our shoulders. A feeling of overwhelm can also arise if it looks from the outside as if we're coping fine and as if we have lots of time and energy to spare, because what things look like from the inside and what things look like from the outside are, as I'm sure you're aware, two very different things. So regardless of what the triggers are for overwhelm, and some of us have particular tasks or particular responsibilities that immediately trigger us to fall into the feeling of overwhelm. I know for me, those circle around responsibilities around money. For other people, they circle around responsibilities for older family members, or children, or being the only driver in the family or the household, for example. Everybody has their own specific things that they react to immediately in that bring up that sense of overwhelm straight away. Now, it doesn't matter what has triggered the feeling of overwhelm. The feeling and the physical and emotional response are the same. So it doesn't matter if objectively it looks trivial or objectively it looks reasonable. The important thing is how it feels to you. And when you have that feeling of overwhelm, you'll know what that feels like to you. For me, it feels like my mind can't settle on any one thing. And I'm just going to go back a bit so that there's less of a shadow on my face from my spectacles. For me, it feels like my mind can't settle on any one thing. It hops about. And it feels like I need to sleep a lot. And I often end up diverting my attention from the thing that feels overwhelming onto things that feel manageable but are less important, like baking or sewing or craft activities like that, which are an important thing to have in my daily routine because they help to support me psychologically and emotionally and spiritually. But there's a line that gets crossed when I'm feeling overwhelmed, where what I'm using those healthy pastimes for. Oh, hi, yes, I see you. There comes a point, that's just somebody who's saying on the Q&A that they're trying to connect. There comes a point where healthy pastime, I start to use that healthy pastime as an escape. The same applies to sleep. Having a nap sometimes is very healthy for me, but if I find myself wanting to go for a nap, I need to exercise discernment, especially at this time of year. Do I want to have a nap because I need a nap, or do I want to have a nap because I'm feeling overwhelmed and I want to escape from the experience, the uncomfortable experience of overwhelm? So that's quite a lot I've said about what overwhelm is. So how do we tackle it and how does it relate to spiritual practice is the next question. The thing with overwhelm is that it exists in our thinking. It doesn't exist in objective reality. Oh, hi, you made it, excellent. Hello, Ella. The thing with overwhelm is that it doesn't exist in objective reality. The experience of overwhelm, I'm not talking about how much work you have to do or how many responsibilities you have. and whether those are reasonable or not. I'm talking about your subjective experience of feeling overwhelmed isn't something that's in reality. It's something that's in your thinking. So, because in reality, you can only be doing what you can do in this moment, and in the next moment, and in the next moment. You're not actually able to or trying to tackle everything that's in front of you at once, because that is within space and time. That's impossible. What feels overwhelming is the awareness that it's all there, that we haven't done it, that we've got, that it's in the future. So it's that anxiety about the future, fueled by our lack of confidence in our own ability to manage, that drives that really uncomfortable feeling of overwhelm. And it can lead us into stress-related illnesses, it can push us into depression, into anxiety, all experiences which are genuine objective results of what is a psychological and emotional reality. So at the same time, or often before tackling the actuality of, or the, do we actually need to do the jobs? Are we the only person who can do the jobs? Do those jobs actually need to happen? It can help to get to the stage where we can look more objectively at what we currently feel we have to do, to actually go to our spiritual practice and centre and become present in the present. Because in the present there is only this moment, there's no past, there's no future, though the past and the future are simply ideas. What's real, what we can actually experience, is the present. Anything that isn't in the present that we think we're experiencing is simply our memory of the past or our imagining of the future. So before we go into our relaxation and quiet time today, I'm going to teach you a grounding practice, a couple of grounding practices actually, that I've learned from different places, which I find helpful to actually being present and coming to a place, because what happens to me, and I know from talking to people, happens to a lot of other people when they go into that state of experiencing overwhelm, is that there's a feeling of being scattered. There's bits of me over there, there's bits of me in my past experience of not finishing things, there's bits in my future fears about being buried under all this work, there's bits of me wanting to be asleep or wanting to be sewing, and there's bits of me, there's bits of me all over the place basically. And what a grounding and centering practices do is help to bring all of those bits, all of those thoughts, which is what they are, all of those pieces of me are thoughts. Let's bring all of those thoughts back into one place. And what those pieces of me are also are packets of energy. So they're thoughts and they're packets of energy. So bringing them back in also means that my energy is more contained, and that means I'm more able to be in charge and control over what I do with the energy. So the first centering practice is simply to breathe. And breathing is something we do regardless. And that's what makes it so great, because whether you're in the middle of anxiety, or whether you're asleep, or whether you're escaping into TV, or whether you're actually attempting to tackle the thing that triggers your feeling of overwhelm, you're breathing. And that makes breathing, that's why breath is so central to so many practices from so many traditions around the world. And the thing that I notice most about how people breathe when they attempt to breathe consciously is that they start with the in-breath. Now, if you're experiencing overwhelm, anxiety, stress, and tension, the muscles in your diaphragm will actually be too tense to allow the breath to fully inflate your lungs. Because the way the muscles of breathing operate is that the muscles actually activate when you breathe out. And then when you breathe in, the muscles in relaxing draw breath into your lungs, which are empty. And we all know nature abhors a vacuum. And of course you haven't quite got a vacuum in your lungs, because that would be unfortunate. But the pressure of air outside your body is greater than the pressure of air inside your lungs. And that's what in fact it's a pushing of air into your lungs from the air around you into your lungs that happens very smoothly and naturally when you've breathed out. And what a lot of us do is we breathe very shallowly, especially when we're stressed and tense and anxious. So one thing we can do is learn to breathe out and then breathe in. The second thing about breathing is that there aren't only two parts to a breath. It's not just breathing out and breathing in. Naturally, there is a pause between the out breath and the in breath. And you'll notice this when people are very relaxed. They'll breathe out for a long time, then it'll seem like they have a really long pause. And then they breathe in again and breathe out. So I'd like you just to practice that for a moment now. With me, we're going to breathe out. Have a pause. And then breathe in through the nose. And breathe out. And pause. And breathe in through the nose. And you'll get to do a lot more of that when we do the relaxation and the quiet time in a little bit. So that's the first thing. And actually consciously breathing and bringing your conscious awareness to your breath, which is something that's happening anyway, is a really simple and effective way of bringing you into the present moment, which is why it's the foundation of so many meditation practices. Now, the next two practices I'm going to show you, the first is I learned it as a Tai Chi sequence, and the second is a grounding and centering practice that I learned from T-Thorn Coil. So, and I'm going to stand up for these, so I may need to adjust my camera a little bit. So, yeah, let's. Okay, so you can only see the upper half of me, well, the upper third of me. So I'll just have to describe what's happening with my legs for this. So this is the Tai Chi sequence, or what I was taught as a Tai Chi sequence. The name that was given to me when I was taught it was Drawing Down the Moon, and I love that because the moon is a very important part of my own spiritual tradition and spiritual practice. But to do this sequence, you stand with your feet your feet facing forwards and your feet about hip width apart, maybe a little wider. Not very wide, but about hip width or maybe a tiny bit wider. And you relax your knees and you have a nice relaxed belly. You're not trying to look thin here. You're just relaxing into the ground, into your gently softened knees. Very, very slight bend to the knees. Just let the muscles around your hips relax down and your belly be soft and round. And if your shoulders are tense, lift them up to your ears and then let them drop on an out breath. Do that again. Breathe in, lift your shoulders to your ears and breathe out and let them drop. And that's just to make sure that your shoulders are relaxed and down. And you can also imagine a golden thread running from the top of your head up to the heavens. And that's holding you upright. So you don't need to use any muscles. Obviously you're using some muscles, but you're not consciously having to use any muscles in order to stay erect and straight and standing. So your ankles are soft, your knees are soft, your hips are soft, your belly's soft, shoulders are soft and relaxed, and your neck, you just feel that golden thread lifting your head gently. I'm just demonstrating that to show what it feels like. You don't need to do this action. So you're nice and relaxed, but also standing upright. And then you put your hands on your belly and you feel your feet on the ground. And you become aware below your feet, below the soles of your shoes, in the ground, the energy of the earth is drawing up towards the soles of your feet. And your body is drawing up energy from the earth through the soles of your feet, spiraling up your instep, over the top of your foot, and around your ankles and your shins, and your calves, and the energy keeps spiraling up around your knees and your thighs, and eventually filling your belly. The energy comes up from the earth, spiraling around your legs, and you draw it into your belly. A nice low bit of your belly, between your belly button and your pubic bone, where your fingers are. Your hands kind of cupping your belly. And you breathe in as you imagine and feel that energy rising up and filling your belly. And then you breathe out and you raise your hands, keeping your elbows and your shoulders soft. Breathe out. And then with your hands facing down, you breathe in. And draw down with your hands, draw down energy from the heavens, through your head, through your neck, your chest, your torso, and into your belly. And then, with your hands on your belly again, you turn your hand palms to face outwards, and you scoop up energy from the world around you in your hands, and draw your hands back to that resting position around your belly again. I'll just move my camera down so you can see that. Oh, a bit too far. That resting position on your belly. So you draw energy up from the earth into your belly, down from the heavens into your belly, and around from the world around you into your belly. And that's it. That's that grounding and centering practice. The second grounding and centering practice that I'm going to show you was the active physical grounding and centering practice. Was taught to me by T. Thorne Coyle. It's actually not as physical as the last one, but you stand in a way that's comfortable for you, ideally with your ankles and your knees soft as before, and your shoulders and your elbows and your wrists soft. And this does, in some ways, it does the same as the Tai Chi drawing down the moon, but it does it through visualization and breath. So just stand in a way that's comfortable for you. Breathe out, and take a deep breath in, filling your body. And breathe out. Now breathe from the tips of the toes to the top of your head. Now breathe in from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And when you breathe out, feel the energy that the breath has drawn into your body, pushing down into the earth a little way and up into the heavens a little way. Just imagine that the heavens is everything from the top of your head upwards. So you're only going about that far up and no further. So you breathe in from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And as you breathe out, the energy you've drawn in pushes a little way into the ground and a little way up above your head. And this time when you breathe in, you'll breathe in again from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And as you breathe out, you'll imagine that you're filling your aura. Now, your aura is anything from a foot to 9 feet. Extends from a foot to 9 feet around your body, depending on your own energy levels, how much aura development you've done, etc., etc. But what I want you to imagine is, as you breathe out, you're filling your aura with energy that you've drawn in from the ground and from the heavens. So the breath is going out in front of you, down over the front of your body, under your feet, up behind you, and back down again. So that it's filling your aura, and it kind of fills out to the sides as well as it goes down in front and up behind. So this time you breathe in from the tips of your toes to the top of your head, and breathe out, filling your aura. So those are the 4 parts of that sequence. So we'll do them now, all one after the other. So breathe out, take a deep breath in. Breathe in from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And feel how full you are of energy from the breath. Breathe in again from the tips of your toes to the top of your head. And breathe out, extending the energy you filled yourself with down into the earth a little way and above your head a little way. Now breathe in from the tips of the toes to the top of your head and breathe out into your aura. Filling your aura. Down at the front, up at the back, and over your head. There. Does anybody have any questions about any of those practices? Let me just check the I'll just give a second for any questions to come through on the Q&A bit, and I will sit back down again and readjust my camera. And for me, I find that those centering and grounding practices, I tend to just use one, and I might do it 2 or 3 times in a row, or 3 or 4 times in a row. Obviously, if it's the Tai Chi one, I like to go somewhere where I'm not going to be observed by anybody who won't appreciate what it is that I'm doing. But the breathing, the conscious breathing, and the grounding and centering, the last one I showed you, those you can do anywhere, because they're just about your consciousness and your breath. And I find that any one of those practices, either done several times, once or twice at different points in the day, or done just once at regular intervals during the day, say once an hour or once every 20 minutes, depending on how much grounding and centering I need at any one point, really help me to gather my energy back together, gather those pieces of me, those thoughts, back to my center, where I can start to step back and look at my situation and start making effective decisions about what's really important. And out of those things that are really important, which ones it's actually true that I'm the one that has to do them. Those are the 2 really important questions. If you're feeling overwhelmed, well, that I have found really important. If someone's feeling overwhelmed, if I'm feeling overwhelmed, is this really that important? So if I don't write a blog post this week because I'm feeling overwhelmed, is the world going to end? Is somebody going to die? No. Because of that. Is somebody going to even miss their dinner because of that? No. Some people won't get to read a blog post that I've written that week. So it's not that important. I mean, if I missed writing a blog post at a sense of place every week for months, that would be a different matter. Then I would need to think very carefully about whether I could continue fulfilling that responsibility at all. But missing 1 week, not the end of the world. And so the first question is this thing really important? And the second question is, am I really the only person who can do this? And very, very rarely will the answer to that question be yes. And the other important thing with facing overwhelm is breaking things down. One of the mistakes we make when we're feeling scattered is we're trying to look at everything all at once, partly because our stress response has been triggered and we're scanning for danger. So breaking everything down that added together is making us feel overwhelmed, and breaking it down into individual tasks. So break the feeling of overwhelm down into specific things. So managing my health, or walking the dog enough, writing a blog post regularly, getting a chapter of a PhD finished, or you know, whatever is causing your feelings of overwhelm, whatever feels like it's triggering your feelings of overwhelm. So break it down into, okay, these are the things, and then within each thing, kind of like within each pot that's holding a thing, what are the specific tasks? Because the more specific you get, the more it feels counterintuitive, because it feels, when you're in overwhelm, that looking at things makes it feel worse. But it's the fear of looking at things that makes it feel worse. Actually looking at things doesn't make it feel worse in most cases. So actually getting really specific about what the tasks are for each task then. Is this really that important? And am I really the only person who can do this? But to get to the place of being able to do that, looking at the things that feel like they're the cause of the overwhelm, for me requires me to be centered and grounded. So that's taken ages. I hope that was useful. If you've got any thoughts about that, when this broadcast is over, I'll be hanging out on my Facebook page, which is Priestess Elinor at Facebook. I believe it's facebook.com/Priestess Elinor, but if you go to Facebook and look up Priestess Elinor or Elinor Prodota Priestess, it should bring you to my page. And while you're there, it'd be wonderful if you'd like it. Thank you. And sign up to get notifications from the page as well, because if you don't sign up for notifications and you don't like or share or comment on items on pages that you've liked, Facebook helpfully takes them out of your newsfeed. But anyway, that aside, I'll be at my page when this broadcast is over for a little while, probably about half an hour, to answer any questions, hear about your experiences, for you to share any tips you've got about overwhelm and about how you feel it relates to your spiritual life. So, with all that in mind, and actually thinking about overwhelm this week, I've decided to add a little bit to the meditation, which I'm going to, the relaxation and meditation. I'm going to take you through relaxation again now, and then some quiet time. And then I'm going to go back to the practice that is becoming more and more foundational for me, of breathing love into my heart and breathing out the quality that I most need today or in this moment, or a quality that I'm working with. For example, on the Inner Truth Community Facebook group, somebody was sharing that the quality they're working with is peace. So it's a practice you can use in a number of different ways. But today what I'd like to do is I'm going to read out a list of names of people who have asked to be held in positive, to be held in our hearts, to be held in positive thoughts. And you can add your own names to that where you are. You can put them in the questions area. And I'll do that towards the end of the quiet time. And then I'll invite you to start breathing in love and breathing out support and healing to yourself and to everyone whose name I've read out. So that's what we'll be doing now. So if you get yourself into a comfortable position, sitting or lying down, just close your eyes. Breathe out. And just breathe gently. And feel warm relaxation starting to spread across the top of your head. And feel it spreading across your forehead. Feel the warm relaxation spreading across your temples and your eyebrows, around your eyes, your cheekbones, your nose. Feel the warm relaxation spreading across your upper lip, your jaw, your chin, your lips, your tongue. And feel warm relaxation spreading down the back of your head, around your ears, the back of your neck, spreading around every vertebra, down your neck, down your throat, over your shoulders, down into your upper arms, your triceps and your biceps and your elbows. Feel the warm relaxation spreading down your forearms and your wrists, backs of your hands, your palms, all of your finger and thumb joints, and the tips spreading all the way, warm relaxation all the way to the tips of your fingers. And you feel the warm relaxation spreading around your shoulder blades and down from your neck, down every vertebra in your spine. Warm relaxation spreading down your spine, spreading through the muscles between your ribs and your back, spreading through your middle back and your lower back. Warm relaxation spreading from your throat over your clavicles, down your sternum, your chest, your breasts, through the muscles between your ribs and the front of your body, through your abdomen, your diaphragm. Warm relaxation spreading through your belly, around all of your organs, into your pelvis, your hips, your buttocks. Warm relaxation spreading through your sex, along the tops of your thighs. Warm relaxation spreading along the bottoms of your thighs, around your knees, down your calves and your shins. Warm relaxation spreading around your ankles, your heels, your soles, your arches. Warm relaxation spreading over the tops of your feet. Warm relaxation spreading between your toes, over the pads, below your toes, the balls of your feet, right the way to the tips of your toes. Filling with warm relaxation. Breathing gently and calmly. Resting in this warm relaxation for a little while. And keep breathing as I read out the names of all those who have asked to be held in love and support. Keisha, Sherry, Diana, Elle's little boy, Tom, Sue, Jess, Tracy, Clive, Victoria, Kate, Robert's sister, Leela, Cindy's daughter-in-law, Ben, Wendy's daughter, Sarah, Kelly's friend. And if you want to add any names to that list, you can speak them now. And now from this place of warm relaxation, become aware that there is love around you. That love surrounds you. And as you breathe in, breathe love into your heart. That inexhaustible supply of infinite love that surrounds us always. And as you breathe out love, support and healing through your own body, out into your own life and out to all those whose names were spoken. And rest for a moment in the pause of your breath. And breathe in love into your heart. And breathe out love, support and healing. And rest in the pause of your breath. Breathe love into your heart. And breathe out love, support and healing through yourself and out to all those who need it. Breathing in love. Breathing out love, support and healing. Resting in the pause of the breath. And one last time for now. Breathe in love to your heart. Breathe love, support and healing out through your body, to your life, to the lives of all those who we've named. And rest in the pause of your breath. Now start gently and slowly to wiggle your toes. Move your ankles, and your knees and your hips. To move your rib cage and your shoulders and your elbows and your wrists and your neck and your head. Open your eyes, and if you feel you need a little bit more help coming into this moment here with eyes open, just pat your thighs very gently with your hands, and you can pat your calves, and if you can take your shoes off, you can pat the soles of your feet. So, have any questions arisen out of any of that? Now, I have a question here that in Italian. Now, as I don't speak Italian, I'm just going to go to a translation website and translate the question. From Italian to English. Huh. Okay, so that wasn't a question relevant to the topic. So, unless we have any more questions, I'm going to say au revoir for this evening's Q&A Sunday. I'm Elinor, Priestess of Inner Truth, and for the person who wanted to know where I am, I'm in Scotland. And if you want to join me now for a chat about anything that this Q&A raised for you, I would be delighted to see you over on my Facebook page, which is, I can actually give you the URL. In fact, I may even be able to share the URL with you right from here, which would be a triumph both through and over technology. Let's see if I can do that. Oh, how do I do that? I don't know. Okay, no, I don't know how to do that. However, if you go to facebook.com/Priestess Elinor, capital P, capital E, that's where I'll be going now for about the next half hour. If anybody wanted to join me there with any comments, queries, experiences, reflections on the topic of overwhelm, or anything that's come up for you while hanging out today. Okay, bye for now, and I hope to see you next week.